Hey, I thought I'd try something a little bit different and do a review of a gaming chair I just purchased. Um, yeah, I'm pretty old bugger, 62, and I was heavily into gaming from about 17 to late 20s. First of all, we had the Commodore Amiga, if anyone remembers that, but the one I fell in love with was the Amiga 1000. Now, the Apple, I think it was the Apple IIe, which was the competitor at the time, was the only two computers that I know of that were truly capable of any form of multitasking. But I just thought the graphics on the Amiga 1000 absolutely shitted all over the Apple. But, you know, being a Commodore product, which is, I don't think they're around anymore, they didn't have the marketing power of Apple. Apple, it's a little bit like Beta versus VHS. The Beta product was superior technology, but everyone, including myself, went with the VHS, and in the end, it just dominated the market as far as rentals and things like that for video. So, what you find with a lot of products, not necessarily the best product is the most popular, and the Amiga 1000 was amazing. But back then, we didn't have internet, so you just invited a few mates over, and we'd, on a Friday night, we'd have a few bongs and play quest games or racing games, and they liked it so much. I drifted away with my wife. I still had them as friends and went to their place, once a week or once every 2 weeks and played their computer. But they had the Amiga 500, which was not as good, but same. And I think they upgraded that to the Amiga 2000, but it went the way of the Dodo. So for 20 or 30 years, I didn't really play games. I had the PlayStation 1 and 2 and the Wii, I think, for my three daughters. We played a few little things. They were mostly interested in like SingStar and dance type things and that, which is, okay for them. I didn't try and force my kids into doing anything. I just threw a whole lot of things, sport, music, academia at them, and they picked up what they want, and then they rejected the rest, and they turned out pretty balanced. Um, but yeah, getting back into computers, I've been away from, well, gaming. I've been away from gaming for probably 20 or 30 years, and it never really interested me. I just was rather doing um, things outdoors. But I've been collecting skateboard decks of all things. I only started about 2 years ago, and I've stopped for the time being whilst the current fascist regime is in place, because I've boycotted all American goods until the relationship with America stabilizes and we get normalcy back. But yeah, so what I was doing was I was collecting skateboard decks, and I saw Tony Hawk 3 and 4 pre-order come out with a Tony Hawk skateboard, which the game itself and the skateboard deck was about the price of the skateboard decks. I thought, oh, I'll pre-order that. It hasn't come out yet. I don't think it's coming out till July. But in the meantime, the Switch 2 started being announcing it's coming out. And I thought, well, this looks a little bit interesting. Did a little bit of research on it. And I thought this was going to tick a few boxes. I just purchased a 4K television a few weeks ago, saved up for it. But they're cheap now, like, 65-inch TCL with 4K. It's only got 60 hertz refresh rate, which I sort of regret in a way. I could have didn't do my research enough. If I'd known, I could have paid $200 more for the same size TV and got the 120 hertz refresh. And that's what the new Switch 2 will play at. But to be honest, I'm going to have a look at it and see if it works okay with that. And if it does, then it's okay. If it doesn't, I'll just buy another, save up for another one, and then have the 60 hertz one sitting in my bedroom. They're quite big televisions compared with what we had. Like, we had 12-inch TVs back in the day. So everything's, what you find now is food has just gone through the roof. Anything that's your daily living is just so expensive, but consumer goods are cheaper. Like, it's just crazy. It's just what society has been. We've become a disposable society, and everything relies on technology. But yeah, looking at the Switch 2, it ticks a lot of boxes as far as the games go. And, you know, I've already started stocking up on a few when I see them on special with some pre-orders and that. But I'm holding off a little bit because we're not really that sure, or they're not 100% sure with all the full compatibility with the normal Switch. So the games that I've ordered are been certified as Switch 2 compatible. So what I'm looking at is the Tony Hawk skateboard, the MotoGP 25, and one of the Need for Speed one. I took a punt on that and got it second hand for about $30, and hopefully it'll work. Or if it doesn't, yeah, I've wasted $30. But I like Need for Speed on the Amiga, so I just want to see what that's like. That was one of the best games out. But we're actually not here to talk about computers. What we're talking about are gaming chairs. Now, I just live in a tin shed on 140 acres. So, you know, it's pretty messy. I've got no one here that I have to worry about. I visit other people. They don't come out here because it's, you know, it's on 6k of dirt road and then a kilometre of... You have to have the best of four-wheel drives to get up there. My Land Rover gets up because it's only a little 90 series Defender, and it's got such a high wheelbase, and I bought it for that. But if anyone else wants to come, I've really got to meet them and drive them up. So there's no surprises. I'm out here. It takes probably an hour to get into town, and I'm sick of what's going on with, you know, television and all that sort of stuff. I watch mostly YouTube, a lot of political stuff with American. I should stop, but I enjoy it in a train wreck kind of way. Our politics is very boring but sane in a lot of ways. We do have our weirdos, but in most ways, you know, our right wing would be considered left wing in America. That's how far the pendulum has swung over there. But yeah, out here on my own, I do a lot of mountain biking and motorcycle riding and stuff like that. But there's been so many rainy days, and I think it's going to be pretty much like that. And I think just watching television or reading has become a bit boring. So I thought I'll get back into gaming, and the Switch 2 looked quite good. This couch here is about 9 years old. It's a cheap, fantastic furniture thing, and I suffer from sciatica, and it's a really hard couch to sit in for longer than half an hour. So I thought I'd invest in a gaming chair, and they're very cheap. Like you pay for what you get, but I'll just show you this one. I bought the colour to sort of match this. I'm a real fan of the colour teal, and I like the teals in politics too because they keep the bastards honest. So this one is called Alfordson. I bought it from this retailer called Hardly Normal. I really hate his politics and I refuse to buy anything, but it was just convenient. And I did, in fact, buy the television and this from them. This had to be delivered, and it came in a box here about that size. Can't really see it. It's a bit IKEA-like, the way you put it together. But to be honest, I didn't make any mistakes. I normally make a mistake and have to unscrew something. So it took me about 20 minutes to put together. It's not that hard, maybe half an hour. There's no written words or anything, so there's no Chinglish to decipher. It's just all pictures. And every single part was there. There's just one bolt didn't fit in, which was a third securing bolt, and I've just put it in the back of the chair for now, and I'll give it another try when I get more light. So I try and limit my light and everything because I'm off the grid at night time. If I put all my lights on and leave them burning, they suck through the juice. But this is, I think you can get them as low as about $150 or $160 on eBay. Of course, I live out whoop. I had to get it delivered, which is only about $10 extra. So I think it worked out just shy of $200. And you pay for what you get. If you're expecting like a lazy boy recliner, it's not that sort of comfort. But compared with the couch, it's still pretty good. So you can lean back like this. It's got a thing here to put your feet up. I'm wearing my Uggies because it's starting to get a bit cold here. We're going into winter. We're in the middle of autumn at the moment. The days are still pretty hot, but nighttime can get down to about 15 degrees. So yeah, you've got a little footrest. You can't actually just tip it that up and you might be able to see it. So this footrest here, you put that out, and I don't really like how it swings around, but when you put your feet on it, it's okay. So yeah, put your feet up, you can sit back. But the other thing it comes with is about 6 sensors for massage. Now, it'd be as annoying as hell if you're in a family with a lot of people because it's quite noisy. But by yourself, you just turn the television up a bit, I suppose. And I've had it on for about 20 minutes. And it's a bit of a gimmick, but, you know, as I say, I suffer from a bit of sciatica, so I might just persevere and try it. I'm used to coming from a sporting background where we use TENS machines, which have really deep stimulation on around your back or even your feet for recovery. And I don't have any of those now. Like, you know, this is going back 20 years when I used to do Ironman, or 25 years or so. 26 years since I did my last full Ironman, but I was racing up until 2010. So in sports recovery, you use a lot of things like massage devices and things like that. So I thought this would be a good thing. It's a little bit gimmicky, but I can feel a little bit of relief there. I don't know if it's a placebo effect, and I'll report later. But the good thing about it is it just runs off a USB plug, and I just plug it into this power thing here, which I can charge up during the day and I don't have to worry about. So it'd be using probably less than 15 watts if it runs off this. So I'll just give you a bit of a demo. Let me see. After plugging in, they're all, I think they call them RCA plugs, which you used to use with the old video recorders and the DVD players. So it's just 3 RCA plugs going into a USB plug. And then you have this controller here. So there's a few different options. I'll just grab me glasses for a minute. It's a bit dark. So there's a few different modes where you can do pulse or whatever. Pulse, press, auto, normal. And the 4 stimulation points are the neck, the back, the lumbar, and the thigh. So what I do is I've gone through them all, and I just let it go on auto, and it basically cycles through there. So if you got something like this, you could just try it out for yourself, whatever needs to work. And I'm saying it may or may not be a gimmick. I haven't used it enough to say. So you turn it on and get ready for a bit of noise. If you can hear that. And yeah, I can see it and feel it cycling up from the top near my back of my chest, the back side, the back on my back, and the lumbar and that. So, you know, I think it might stop numbness when you're playing, if you were gaming for hours on end. I don't think I'll be gaming online or anything like that. I know at least 1 or 2 people have the old Switch, so I might challenge them to a couple of games. But I'm more interested in just mucking around with the skateboard game or the motorcycle racing or car racing, and maybe a couple of quest games. But yeah, I just thought that I'd get myself a chair, and it's quite comfortable. The till's a nice colour because it matches my couch. I've even got a motorcycle I used to race. It's the same colour as this, a Quacker 300 Ninja that was really fast on the go-kart tracks where we did short course racing. So yeah, it sort of matches my decor, but I'm very eclectic on everything. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess and long due for a clean up, but we've just had rain for the last 2 or 3 months, and I don't have a garbage collection service, so everything I save up and take to the tip when I need to as far as recycling. My physical garbage is 1 plastic garbage bag about this big. I can get it down to probably every 3 or 4 weeks, because everything else I recycle. My cardboard I burn when I use the fire, so I find that's probably the best way. So yeah, this chair, I think it's pretty good for $180, $190, but you could get them cheaper on eBay. Problem was that the postage was going to be too expensive. So if you live in a capital city somewhere, you'll probably find you'll get them a bit cheaper. But as I say, you pay for what you get. hope I'll get a couple of years out of this at least. I thought a chair would help. The way it does lean back is pretty good, but it's nowhere near like a lazy boy type thing, which would be a really good thing if it had massage as well, but it's a bit beyond my budget at the moment. Well, beyond my budget because I went and pre-ordered the Switch 2. I think it was $679 with, or $769, sorry, with the Mario Kart. So hopefully it'll be a good investment just for a bit of fun, and just see how I go with it. But yeah, this is the chair. I'll give you another look at it. You can see it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And who cares about the decor? You know, I'm a bachelor now, so it doesn't really matter. But that's basically it. I would sort of recommend this based on the price. I think it's well worthwhile. But you can't really work out how they can do things so cheap. It's probably the slave labour that they have in China. But hey, they're a booming economy, and I don't have any problem with the Chinese stuff because we don't make anything in Australia. So I'll buy Chinese stuff over American stuff because of the politics, and I'd rather be friendly to the Chinese at the moment than to the Americans. Not the citizens or those who voted Democrats. I'm happy to call them mates or whatever. But anyone else, if you didn't vote or you voted for Trump, well, you know, you're dead to me. Because like he cost me $50,000 just last week or 2 weeks ago with his tariffs, and he put 10% on us, even though we have a trade deficit with him. So he's a lying bastard. We knew in Australia that he was a bastard criminal back in 1988. We didn't give him a casino license because we knew he was in with organised crime. So yeah, I've known he's been a crook for 30 or 40 years, and happy to say I never watched an episode of The Apprentice, and I've hated the guy for 30 or 40 years. And I don't have TDS. That's shit that they make up, those MAGA morons. Anyway, fuck around and find out. If you go and have a look on my YouTube channel, I wrote a song called Fuck Around and Find Out. So, sorry for getting a bit political, but yeah, he's on my mind a fair bit because of all the shit. You know, I wake up every day and say, what the fuck is he doing now that's going to ruin the world? And you know, one day he'll mistake that Coke button for a fucking mute button. But hopefully they'll have it disconnected. And I don't even think they talked to him about the plans. He didn't even know about the Houthi rebels and stuff like that. But, you know, Whiskey-gate and Signal-gate. I know nothing. Yeah, but I'm the smartest man in the world and I remember everything. But as soon as he's asked to talk about anything that's controversial, I don't know anything about that. He's got the intelligence of about a 12-year-old, the emotional intelligence of a 4-year-old, but he's cunning. And the cunningness he just got from a playbook from Roy Cohen. So, you know, it's easy to be a crook if you've given a textbook on it. So, enough about that. Yeah, go out and get yourself a gaming chair if you think so. Go out and get the Switch 2 if you think it's the right thing for you, but do your own research. Xbox and PlayStations are probably just as good, but I just like the little handheld thing which I can take anywhere if I want. I do a bit of camping, surfing, and get a little bit bored at night time, so I can probably take that with me, and hopefully it'll do good. If not, well, you know, doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's it for the gaming chair. As I said, it's Alfordson, nice swivel. It's pretty good. I like the colour. It comes in all different colours, but I went with the teal because the teals are the best solution, in my opinion, for keeping the bastards honest, because they're sort of independents and they will work for their electorate. We don't really have any up here, so I'm not ashamed. I voted Greens all my life. I don't agree with probably 50% of their policies, but it's still one of the better parties. I like Labor, but they're just a little bit sucky on the environment, giving out too many coal mines. So yeah, that's it for the chair. Sorry again for the bit of politics, and sorry for going on a rant, but that's life. And if you've seen my channel, you know that I do a lot of crap like that. Have a good one.